Hello everyone, Coin Collector here, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Charles I half crown. Charles I reigned from 1625 until 1649 and is most famous for fighting the English Civil War, during which the Royalists, people loyal to him, Charles I, fought against the Parliamentarians, people loyal to Parliament, and then later Oliver Cromwell, who I'm sure you've all heard of. His reign is actually one of the most interesting in terms of numismatics, because during sieges, and at times half the country was effectively occupied by an invading force, there was issues with the supply of currency, so silver and gold. So when both sides had to mint coins, they had to make do with whatever they had. And they didn't often have the correct dies, so the die is what you would use to strike a coin and get the right design. So they often had to make up their own and produce some interesting designs. Although this coin is not affected by it, it does make his reign pretty interesting in terms of most coins. So onto the coin itself. Let's just do some facts. This coin is about half an ounce of silver. I think it's about 15.3 grams, this one. Would have been slightly more, obviously, if it wasn't quite as worn and complete around the edges. It's about 3.5 centimeters wide, in diameter, and about 2 millimeters thick. On the obverse side, as you can see, hopefully, there is a man riding a horse. And although this coin is quite worn, and you probably can't see the body of the horse, you can see the legs. So we can clearly tell it's the horse. In this particular design, the cloak of the king, so Charles I, is over his shoulders and it's blowing in the wind. This helps us date the coin by judging which design they actually used. There's no ground underneath the horse, and the horse itself is facing forward, not towards the viewer of the coin. Let's look at the inscription around the edge. Although some of the letters are worn out, you can clearly tell, we can guess the letters that should have been there, as we have, I'd say, about 80% of the letters are there. So if we work around the edge, we start off with here, with Carlos, so Charles, and then we rubbed away, we have a D, then you can see a G, then we go for Mag, I'll give a translation in a second, Bri, so BRI, standing for Britain, FR, Et, Hib, Rex. Now, the translation of that literally means Charles, by the grace of God, King of Great Britain, France, and Ireland. Because although by this point in English history we control no land at all whatsoever on the continent, we still claim to be kings of France. And obviously, Ireland during the Civil War is a completely separate issue, and although ostensibly it was loyal to Charles, it obviously was invaded later on by Cromwell, who committed certain atrocities over there. So that's the inscription around this edge. If we move on to the reverse side of the coin, got to turn the coin upright, you can clearly see at the top, this is a mint mark. Now this is actually a sun, although the top of it's gone, you can clearly see it's a sort of circular shape with rays coming off it. Now this tells us the coin was minted at the Tower of London, in London, unsurprisingly. And along along with the obverse design, we can actually date this coin to 1645 to 1646. So we can date it within a year, which is pretty accurate. So this coin would have actually been minted whilst Charles I was under house arrest, effectively, by parliamentarians. And although he'd lost the Civil War, they were still minting coins with his image on them, because at this point they hadn't decided what to do with him. Around the edge of the coin, the inscription reads, Christo Auspice Regnor. And this literally translates from Latin into I reign under the auspices of Christ. And one of Charles I's main points during the Civil War was that he was God's legitimate choice to rule England. And he's obviously trying to make a statement on the coins throughout his reign, saying, I'm God's anointed one to rule the country, not Parliament. Then obviously the coat of arms. You've got the lion, you've got the unicorn up there for Scotland, the harp for Ireland, and then the English coat of arms there. These coins would have been widely circulated, which is why most half crowns are actually in pretty poor condition. But in my opinion, they're a great buy. You get a half an ounce of silver for an extremely, not in terms of bullion, but in terms of just historical price, you get a great value on these coins, in my opinion. These are over 400 years old, half an ounce of silver, and have great designs on them. I would highly recommend it to anybody. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video, and if you have anything else, please leave any comments down below.